The mayor of Paris honors Princess Diana as the world remembers the fallen princess 20 years after her death. NFL star Aaron Rodgers opens up about his split from actress Olivia Munn. Star defender for the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt, increases his Harvey fundraising goal to $10 million after overwhelming support continues to come in. Plus, Houston rapper Bun B and music manager Scooter Braun are planning a benefit concert to help flood victims. And it is official. Property Brothers star Drew Scott is going to be tearing up the ballroom floor this season on Dancing with the Stars.
You're going to see fine art, you're going to see great paintings, oriental rugs, and you're going to see Star Wars memorabilia peppered throughout. 1,500
items in the late Carrie Fisher's home are going up for auction, and we are giving you a sneak peek. And just in time for back-to-school shopping, Dance Mom star Mackenzie Ziegler shows us what's new in her cool clothing line.
Is Maddie going to be rocking any of this?
Hopefully. I'll make her wear it.
Yeah, you can make Maddie Ziegler wear this. Maddie, support your sister, okay?
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Almost a Friday, everybody. So close. We have a lot for you this morning in today's show, including a look back at Princess Diana's life, as today marks the 20th anniversary of her death. So in honor of that, we want to know what's your favorite memory of Princess Diana. It's our Facebook question of the day, so let us know in the comments below. But first, here's what you need to know and what's trending. Well, today we're remembering Princess Diana as it marks the 20th anniversary of her death. The late princess, who became a global icon, passed away this day in a high-speed car crash inside Paris's the Alma Tunnel when her and her boyfriend, Dodi Fayed, tried to escape from the paparazzi. The mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, marked this sad day by placing a large bouquet of flowers at the Flame of Liberty, a golden memorial above the Alma Tunnel. The Golden Flame has become an unofficial memorial to the people's princess since her tragic accident. And back in London on Wednesday, Prince William and Prince Harry reflected on their late mother's death by visiting a memorial created for her outside the Kensington Palace gates. The royal brothers spent time closely looking at the flowers and signs that royal well-wishers placed at the gates in memory of Diana. Now, many have been coming out to Kensington Palace to pay their respects to the late princess. Well-wishers have been placing photos of Diana all over the gates, as well as candles, flowers, and other tributes to remember all the great things she achieved. Many took time to look back to the moment that they discovered Princess Diana had passed away. Take a look.
First of all, you couldn't believe it, and it was one of those things where you thought maybe it was a movie. It was devastating that you couldn't believe it.
I was woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning from Australia because they got the news before me, and my sister said to me, Princess Diana's dead, and I goes, no, she's not. And I thought, I woke up my daughter, and we came down here, and we put a bunch of roses on the gates, and then 10 minutes later, it was just mayhem. All the flowers just started arriving in cards and teddy bears, and by mid-afternoon, it was right down the end there.
It's an amazing phenomenon in some ways, isn't it, that someone, at that time so young, I mean, she was my age too, so I think for me it was someone that was literally my age, a young mother at the time, and I think it's a phenomenon that so many people, I mean, even us, we're talking to you today about that, and still remember 20 years ago where we were, yet we'd never met her, had been nowhere near her. But I think she touched so many people because of who she was, the way she conducted herself.
And that's not all we have for you this morning about Princess Diana. People's senior editor, Michelle Tauber, will be joining us live to talk all about Diana's life and how her sons have carried on their mother's legacy. But first, watch this.
We just crossed the $6 million mark. Everything's bigger in Texas, so I'm raising the goal to $10 million. Please keep sharing. Please keep donating. I can't thank you enough. Every little thing helps.
J.J. Watt, the star defender of the Houston Texans, is stepping up in a huge way for the victims of Hurricane Harvey. The NFL player raised more than $6 million on the crowd fundraising platform YouCaring.com in just 3 days, and now he's kicking his goal up a notch to $10 million. Watt says the funds that he raised will go to those affected by the storms for water, generators, food, clothing, and cleaning supplies. Watt's initial goal was $200,000, and by Tuesday afternoon, fundraising surpassed $4 million. The athlete opened up to Good Morning America on Tuesday about the overwhelming response, saying, quote, The biggest part of it all is being able to see the power of what can happen when people come together. I think that's the beauty of the people in this country. When they see somebody going through a tough time, they all rally around. The Houston Texans have a preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys scheduled for today, but the football player says that if that game is played, it should be, quote, a massive fundraiser, because football shouldn't be a priority in a situation like this. To donate to Watt's Houston Flood Relief Fund, head to youcaring.com/JJWatt. And the football player is just one of the many big names pitching in to help Houston. Rapper Bun B and music manager Scooter Braun are planning a benefit concert for the people of Houston following the devastation of Hurricane Harvey. A rep for Bun B tells the Associated Press that he's actively working on the talent and logistics for the show. The benefit, which is tentatively set to air on 4 national networks, has been scheduled for September 12th. Bun B, who is from Houston and has worked with fellow Houston native Beyonce, has lots of connections in the industry. Meanwhile, Scooter Braun, who manages Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Carly Rae Jepsen, and more, organized Grande's Manchester benefit concert back in June. Well, Aaron Rodgers is finally opening up about what may have been the reason behind his breakup with ex-girlfriend Olivia Munn. The two split in April, and now the athlete's revealing to ESPN The Magazine that the public scrutiny the two constantly faced made everything more difficult. Saying, quote, "When you're living out a relationship in the public eye, it's difficult. It has some extra constraints because you have other opinions about your relationship, how it affects your work, and, just some inappropriate connections." The Green Bay Packers quarterback and X-Men Apocalypse star dated for 3 years before parting ways in April. A source close to the situation confirmed to People that the two, quote, amicably ended their relationship and that the two remain close friends and wish nothing but the best for each other moving forward. All right, well, let's check in with Facebook Live. Today we're remembering Princess Diana 20 years after her death, so we're asking you what your favorite memory of the People's Princess is. Liz says, my favorite moment was in an interview where she speaks about leading from the heart rather than her head. And John says when Princess Diana danced at the White House with John Travolta. That's a really great memory. All right, we'll keep those Facebook comments coming in. We'll be right back.
This is Jennifer Lawrence in People. This is Jennifer photobombing Taylor Swift and Sarah Jessica Parker and Liam Hemsworth, proving that while we all love the fashion of the red carpet, it's people who steal the show. People. The details make the story.
All right, we're kicking off Star Treks with a big Dancing with the Stars reveal. Looks like Property Brothers host Drew Scott is heading to the ballroom. He officially revealed the news Wednesday on Good Morning America. The HGTV star will be partnering up with reigning Dancing with the Stars champion Emma Slater, and from the looks of it, the pair already seem to be having a great time. Scott, who's been a big fan of the show for some time now, says he cannot wait to hit the dance floor, telling People, I can't wait for the premiere night. But what I'm really looking forward to is finale night, where I hope Emma and I will be holding up the mirror ball. I want to make her proud and really want her to be a back-to-back champion. Although confident, Drew admits he's never competitively danced before and that he even struggled through his first few days of rehearsal, revealing, quote, "It is hard. I'm a coordinated guy and I excel at sports, but this is the first time in a long time that I felt like the most awkward person in the room while performing in a sport. But that's exciting. I'm coming into this without any ego. This is something my fans and family wanted to see happen, so I'm going to go in there like that new kid on the block who has no skills and learns from the best, which is Emma." Well, speaking of family, Drew confessed during the GMA reveal that his twin brother Jonathan was originally supposed to compete on this season, but unfortunately had to back out due to a shoulder injury. Drew joked on GMA about Jonathan's absence, saying, quote, "Jonathan says instead of beating me on Dancing with the Stars, he decided to let me have this." Despite the friendly competition, Drew's identical partner in crime still wished his brother the best of luck. Watch this.
A message for you. Let's listen.
Okay.
Hey, good luck, Drew, on Dancing with the Stars. Just remember, I am the brother with the rhythm, so if you need somebody who is going to show you some of the moves, never mind. Back to work.
So good.
He's very smooth. As you can see, he's the smooth brother.
Gotta love that. And as for Jonathan possibly joining Drew on the dance floor at some point this season, the 39-year-old tells People they already have a plan in place, saying, "Maybe what I'll do is conspire with Jonathan to switch in at rehearsals when I'm too tired. We'd have to see if Emma would notice." Well, I definitely approve of that plan. I want to see it happen. The rest of the season 25 cast will officially be announced on GMA September 6th, and the new season of Dancing with the Stars returns on Monday, September 18th. Cannot wait to watch. All right, moving on to this. Selah Marley, the 18-year-old daughter of singer-songwriter and prominent member of the Fugees, Lauryn Hill, has been making quite the name for herself in the fashion industry. Touted as the modeling world's next big thing, Selah stopped by InStyle to chat with Laura Brown about what inspires her own style choices, including the mixed print outfit she wore to the shoot. Watch this.
Basically, it was a funny story because I wasn't supposed to be shopping for myself, and yet I did.
Shocker.
It was my brother's birthday, and my mom got them a Sprinter van. Him and all his friends. It was like a solid 15 of them. And for me, I was kind of a little jaded, so I was going in there like, you know, whatever. So we go into Babe, and he's like looking around with his friends. They're all just like kind of peeling through things. And you know when that eye turns on?
Yes.
It's like... and you can't control it. So basically,
you bought it. So you got rainbow skirt, and you got a camouflage shirt, and it mixes together, and I like it. Okay, belt.
Thank you. This belt. So me and my friends, we go to Rockaways, and we pull up to the parking spot, and right across from the parking spot is this cute little vintage spot.
Oh.
Basically, I go in, and like you know, you're looking through stuff, you're peeling through. Okay. And I start seeing things that I like. I'm an extremist. So, like, I don't have a chill.
Yeah.
So I see one thing, I'm like, okay.
6 years later.
6 years later! And it's so funny because it was, like, only one lady at the store. And she's like, okay, cool, let's try this on.
And you're like...
And I'm like, and she's like, starts looking at me like I'm crazy. She's like, woman, what are we doing here? And I was like, what do you mean?
She's a lot of fun. Love that. Selah's full Dirty Laundry episode is available right now on the Penn app. And those are your Star Tracks for today. But stay with us. We're touring the personal property of the late Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. Plus, royal expert Michelle Tauber is joining us live to remember Princess Diana on the 20th anniversary of her death.
This is King Cutie in People. His Royal Highness Prince George Alexander Louis of Cambridge. These are George's parents. George's home, his Nana, the Queen, and his staff of 644 Englishmen. This is George's dog Lupo, who inspired his favorite book, The Adventures of the Royal Dog Lupo, one George will share now that he's a big brother. People. The details make the story. Don't miss this week's People.
Ever wonder what it'd be like to peek inside the mind of the late Carrie Fisher? Starting October 7th, Profiles in History will be holding a 2-day property auction at Carrie's real-life home, where visitors and fans will have the unique opportunity to purchase some of the star's most personal items. President of the auction house, Joe Maddalena, took us inside the star's eccentric and inspiring home. Check out what he showed us.
So people want to know what Carrie's house is really like. It's very hard to explain. You kind of have to see it to believe it. So you're walking around the yard, she'll have blue cows, she'll have statuary, she'll have giant hands coming out of the ground. She just was a character. So as you're walking the estate, you're going to find antiques, you're going to find advertising art, you're going to find things that are going to blow your mind, like a 6-foot cell phone. Everything you could possibly imagine is in this house. You're going to see fine art, you're going to see great paintings, oriental rugs, and you're going to see Star Wars memorabilia peppered throughout. This is her director's chair from Return of the Jedi. So, chairs like this are common, but not a principal actor's, not Harrison Ford's or Mark Hamill's. This is Carrie Fisher's, So to have a principal actor's chair is pretty amazing. This is her baseball cap she wore in Empire Strikes Back. It's cool, hand-embroidered Carrie Fisher. This is her actual shooting script from Empire Strikes Back. It has over 60 pages of dialogue corrections by her. So virtually every page of dialogue that has Carrie in a scene, there are notes to herself about how to play the character. She'd give herself reminders like breathe slower, or do this, or move slower, or kiss differently. So this truly, I think, of the Star Wars items in the collection, this is the single most important. So now we're in kind of the inner sanctum of Carrie's life. You're getting a look into actually where she worked. Carrie was a very, very well-known writer. She was a script doctor. People don't realize that she made her living, working on other people's movies. She was such a talented writer, and this is where she worked. This is her desk, and this is where she'd come in on a daily basis, and she wrote longhand. Everything was longhand. No computers, no typewriters, notepads, yellow notepads, and she would just extemporaneously write. So that was kind of a look into Carrie's, creative process. And again, in the room, you're going to see kind of more of her personality. And, things in this room are a lot of antiques and collectibles, again, that she just acquired on her trips. You're living in a woman's mind of what her, travels were. So I think that's the coolest thing about her house. So let's go look at some more stuff. So now we're in probably the most intimate place of the house. We're in Carrie's bedroom. Carrie loved to hold court, so even in her bedroom there are a whole menagerie of chairs that people could sit in, that she loved to have people around. James Blunt, the famous composer, actually composed many of his most famous songs here. His piano is behind me, and next to me is probably one of the most visually recognizable things. It's Princess Leia. She's coming out of R2-D2 and she's sending her message to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is, one of the few Star Wars pieces Carrie had in her bedroom. It was actually made by a fan. I mean, the things in this room, whether her neon signs, her painted sky ceiling, her bed that she took every little pin and knick-knack and embroidery and stuck them in to kind of like just make this quirky environment that was Carrie Fisher.
Well, today marks the 20th anniversary of Princess Diana's tragic death. On Wednesday, Prince William, Princess Kate, and Prince Harry walked through the breathtaking all-white garden created in memory of the prince's late mother. At the garden, the royal trio met with representatives of the charities and causes that Diana passionately supported. Prince William and Prince Harry reminisced about their childhood visits to the gardens and looked at tributes to their mother attached to the Golden Gates of Kensington Palace. Well, joining me now is People's senior editor, Michelle Tauber. Thank you so much for joining us, Michelle. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, today, the world remembers Princess Diana, who passed away in a Paris car crash 20 years ago. Now, outside the Kensington Palace, people have begun laying floral tributes and personal messages at the gates. Michelle, what do you remember most from that very awful day?
Well, I think it's one of those events where for anyone who was around then, you couldn't get your head around it. It was so shocking. Diana had been a woman who was so incredibly alive and at the time was truly the most famous woman on the planet. And the news came down in the early morning hours. For most people in the UK and in Paris, where the car crash happened, they didn't find out about it until they woke up the next morning. But it really just stunned the world. There's no way anyone could have possibly been prepared for a shock that big.
Yeah, it was definitely a very shocking moment. How did People magazine cover this tragic story?
So People had reporters both in London and in Paris who immediately were dispatched to, cover all elements of the story, from Diana and Dodi's final days together in Paris to what exactly caused the crash, to the scene outside the hospital, to the scene in London, where our reporters say, looking back, they, at the time and still today, have never seen anything like it in terms of the outpouring publicly among fans and also journalists. It was just literally a sea of reporters, fans, everyone sort of, in shock and mourning, flooding the streets in London.
Now she was known as the People's Princess. Can you tell us why she was called that?
Yeah, so Diana herself called herself the Queen of Hearts, but it was Tony Blair who gave her that name of the People's Princess, and it was after she died, actually. And that name really took on a life of its own following Diana's death, because it seemed to so well capture who she was. Of course, her common touch with everyday people, the way her actual touch, the way she, didn't like to wear gloves, and she liked to embrace children and the elderly, sick people. She was so empathetic, and that is what the People's Princess really means.
Yeah. Now, how are her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, remembering their mother today?
So they are remembering her privately. Yesterday, you showed the footage of them visiting the Kensington Palace garden that's been redesigned, all in white, which was Diana's favorite color. That was sort of their public way of remembering her. Today will be private. And when we've spoken with her brother in the past, he has told us that, that the private memorial for her that is maintained at her childhood home of Althorpe, Diana's family home, that's meant for her to, for her family to have the space and the peace to remember her without any intrusion.
Now, of course, there was this insatiable appetite for photos of Princess Diana before the tragic car crash. Now, her son, Prince William, begged the paparazzi to give Princess Kate space when they first got engaged. And then Prince Harry has also asked for the paparazzi to give Meghan Markle space. Do you think that they have a little more peace than their mother did when it comes to the paparazzi and all of that?
Absolutely. I think that Diana changed a lot with that. And again, in his eulogy, which sort of rang around the world, Charles Spencer himself said, Diana was the most hunted woman in the world, and that, that was sort of a real warning shot across the bow to the press to back off when it came to her sons, William and Harry, who, of course, were so young, just 12 and 15 when Diana died. So it made a big difference. And, they're still obviously living their lives in the spotlight, and there's huge interest in them and their families and all of it. But they have had a lot more space than Diana was given.
Yeah, seeing those videos, they were very young. What do you think that Princess Diana would say about her boys if she were alive today?
I think everyone who knows Diana and everyone who admired her from afar would say that she would just be so proud to see them carrying on her legacy. It's truly something that informs everything they do in terms of their public work. And I feel like every mom, that's your hope, that the values you instilled and the good work you tried to do yourself would be carried on by your children. And that's something that William and Harry are doing. So she would be so proud, I think.
Yeah, you're talking about them carrying on her legacy. How are they doing that? I mean, they have done several documentaries and opened up about that, but how do they continue to carry on Princess Diana's legacy 20 years later?
So William and Harry have both really adopted a lot of her most cherished causes. For Harry, that often includes, awareness of AIDS activism and HIV testing. They both met with members of the English National Ballet yesterday at the Kensington Garden Memorial because that was one of Diana's favorite things. Harry's Invictus Games are coming up in September in Toronto, and that's a place where he honors wounded warriors who've been injured, in the line of duty. And Diana, of course, famously highlighted, landmines and the toll they took and the toll war takes. So there's so many ways that they continue to really do good work in following the path that she laid out.
Yeah, and last thing before we let you go, what kind of grandmother do you think that she would have been to Prince George and Princess Charlotte?
Well, that was something that was really poignant when we spoke with Charles Spencer. He said she would have been the best grandmother ever. Mm-hmm. She loved being a mom. She, of course, had worked as a kindergarten teaching aide and was, really great with children. And she would have, adored those two little kids. And her friend Lana Marks told us she sometimes thinks of Diana, running in the English rain, holding George and Charlotte's hands, and what a delight that would have been for her. So it's really sad to know that she's not here to enjoy them.
Well, she is certainly missed. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being with us today and sharing all this information. And for more on Princess Diana, make sure to pick up a special edition of People magazine called Diana, Her Life and Legacy on newsstands everywhere right now. And also make sure to check out 2 specials on the People Entertainment Weekly Network, The Amazing Lives of Prince George and Princess Charlotte, and Princess Diana Behind the Headlines. We even have a clip from the Penn special, Princess Diana. Take a look.
I believe Harry not long ago talked about having been in therapy for a long time. It had a profound impact on them.
Yeah, he talked to People magazine last year, and he said his mum, every day he tries to make his mum happy, and I think that was one of the first times he began to open up about his mum.
Yeah, how did it impact William, do you think?
I think William was a little bit older, and so it probably impacted him a little bit more, in fact. I mean, neither of them have talked about it as much. Only 20 years, it's taken 20 years for them to come to terms with this.
I think it may have also made him a little more protective of his own family, though.
He definitely manages press attention differently than his mom did.
Yeah.
And there's, fortunately less attention to it as well.
This is Jennifer Lawrence in People. This is Jennifer photobombing Taylor Swift, and Sarah Jessica Parker and Liam Hemsworth, proving that while we all love the fashion of the red carpet, it's people who steal the show. People. The details make the story.
Well, if you're a Law & Order fan, you know the show and its countless spin-offs have been inspired by true crime stories ripped straight from the headlines. And now People has exclusively gathered some of those real-life compelling stories in a new special issue called True Crime Stories, 35 real cases that inspired the show Law & Order. The 96-page issue contains the latest news on high-profile trials, sex scandals, and unsolved mysteries. Plus, the issue features exclusive interviews from real-life detectives and prosecutors on how Law & Order kept their approach real. People's True Crime special issue hits newsstands Friday, so make sure to pick it up. The one and only Mackenzie Ziegler may be known for her dance moves and vocal chops, but the bubbly 13-year-old is adding a new title to her already impressive resume, and that would be designer. Mackenzie collaborated with Juiciest for her new dance-inspired activewear line. And good news, guys, it's available right now, just in time for back to school. Take a look.
Guys, we're here with Mackenzie Ziegler. We are so excited about your clothing line. It's Juiciest activewear. Tell us about it, starting with what you're wearing here today.
Yes, well, this one is actually really cute because I love the headphones because I'm like in love with music, obviously. And it also has like a crop top underneath so you can dance in it and it won't like flow when you're dancing. So it's
also, the crop top's made into it.
Yeah,
it's like all one piece.
It's attached.
Yeah, sneaky.
Let's look at
that. It's really cool.
This one is one of my favorites because you can wear it as like an everyday outfit also with like leggings or jeans or something.
Now, a lot of this line is dance inspired. Why do you want to go this route for back to school?
Well, obviously I love dancing and I also wanted to incorporate some of my singing into it, and a lot of my like supporters are dancers because of like dance moms and stuff.
It's time to get a little hungrier for that win.
So I like to incorporate the dancing and...
I like it. It's comfy.
All right. Yeah. Talk to me about this one.
This one is actually super comfy. It has like a tank top connected to it.
Also built in.
Yes, sneaky.
Super sneaky.
And I always like wear stuff like this to like a dance competition before so I can like warm up in it. These two are like you can just wear them to dance. So this one you could wear to gymnastics, which I also do gymnastics. And then this one I would most likely wear to dance class. So
nice. And who is your biggest fashion influence if you had to choose?
Either my sister or Zendaya because she has great style.
These are very, very cute. Also look very comfy.
So look, you know, here you are. You're doing a clothing line. All of a sudden you see it, and it's like you react to it. What has the reaction been from your friends? Like, what was the feedback?
They have thought it was so cool, and they all want me to send them stuff because they love it so much.
Is Maddie going to be rocking any of this?
Hopefully, I'll make her wear it.
Yeah, you can make Maddie wear the Maddie. Support your sister, okay?
I like those cute little outfits. All right, let's check in with Facebook Live one last time. In honor of the 20th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, we are asking what your favorite memory is of her. A lot of memories here. Lynn says, there are so many memories I have of her. Her love, her strength, her heart for the common Joe touched us all. Vivian says, I love that Princess Diana treated her children to normal life and showed them to be caring individuals. And Camille says, her heart, her fashion, her legacy. I love that. All right, well, thank you guys so much for your comments and for watching. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Carrie Glassman is getting us ready for school with a great snack to up your kids' lunch game. Plus, Jenna Wolf is showing us a workout that's perfect for busy moms. Get your workout on. All right, thanks for watching. And for now, we leave you with one last thing from Blackish star Yara Shahidi. Enjoy.
I'm Yara Shahidi, and this is One Last Thing. The last show I binge-watched was... I really just listen to podcasts, so the last podcast I binge listened to was still processing. The last time I laughed so hard I cried was with my brothers. I don't even know what we were talking about, but they just know me so well that they could say anything and I'm already in tears from laughter. The last time I was starstruck was at FYF, which was a music festival, when I met Frank Ocean and Tyler, the Creator. I am a music junkie and I just love what their music represents and what they're doing for young artists, and so I think I literally said 3 words like, "Hi, I'm a fan," and that was about the extent of it.